Hello, surface designers. Yet another video. This one is going to be about utilizing the, the things you can get, which are mock-up templates you can buy online. Sometimes you can get them for free. It's getting more and more difficult to find them. I am donating the ones I have purchased to your cause. These ones are ones that are from a company called Superfizz, and they are for mocking up wallpaper and carpet and rugs. And one thing I'd like you to be really sure of is that I have purchased the license for these. You have not. You cannot reproduce these mock-ups for anything commercial. And if they're in your portfolio, please remember that they should be, you should not hand them off to anybody. Okay, that's important. Anyway, you're going to get this whole folder, the many folders here. There's about 5 of them, and they're different scenes. You can check them out as you like. I'm not going to waste time doing it. Within each folder, there is the license, which means that they've been purchased. There is a user manual to show you how to do this and how to actually put your artwork into the PSDs, and I will show you how to do that. But if you want to open up that PDF, that would walk you through it as well. So right off the bat, I'm going to go to scene number 3 here, and I'm going to open that up in Photoshop. And as you can see, it's a pretty simple looking page. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see it. Where it says your design here is exactly where your wallpaper or your print and pattern will reside, and it will completely look natural. It will look realistic. What you want to do is look at the layer panel. They've created it with 3 different layer groups. The one that's most important to start off with is this Smart Object Wall layer group. It's the green one. And when you open that up, it shows the Smart Object. A Smart Object is kind of like a high-res file within a file. It is very transportable. It is non-destructive. They've actually added a very important mask that you want to make sure you don't mess with, because they've done a really beautiful masking job. And then there's another layer that has the background. I guess you can change it. I don't know what the difference is. You can change the wood on the floor. And you can just click which one you want. It makes no difference. The one you want to be most involved with here in the very beginning is the Smart Object. So if you haven't dealt with a Smart Object before, it looks different than a regular layer. It shows that it's kind of a file within a file. If I zoom in, I can't zoom into the layer file, sorry. I always think I can zoom into the layer panel, but I can't. Anyway, the mask is on the right. There's a link button that's important within this one. You want to keep that intact, and then you just double click with your cursor on the Smart Object. When you have a Smart Object, you'll notice that it opens up a separate image file that actually has its own layer. And all you're going to do is go to your pattern, and you're going to paste it right in there. And let me just show you how that works. So I have a pattern. My pattern is over here. You've seen it before, and it's just a PSD at 200 pixels per inch. Mine happens to be 24 by 24 inches. I'm hoping that's big enough. I'm going to Command A to select it all, Command C to copy it. I'm going back over here. Now, the thing to notice is that up in your tabs, the Smart Object, which is a separate tab, is called a layer 1.psb, as in PS boy. And what you want to do is you're going to want to be on that tab. You're going to paste, Command V, your pattern in there. And then you are going to close that tab. So you can go to Control W, you can hit the little X, whatever you want to do, you want to close that. It's going to then prompt you to, do you want to save the changes? And we're going to say yes, we want to save those changes, and wait for it. It's going to take a while. I went to the wrong file, but bam, it plopped right in there. And as you can see, now if you look at your layer panel, the preview shows our pattern in there. If you want to change anything, you would then go back into the Smart Object, double click it again. For instance, if you wanted to make it smaller, if you wanted your pattern a little bit smaller, you could, whoops, and I keep on forgetting to, don't hold the Shift key when you're doing that in Photoshop. You can just move it around, say OK, close the Smart Object, which is the .psb. You're going to say Save. It takes a while. And there it is. It's been scaled down a little bit. So that's how simple it is. All of this, all these, there's been shadows applied, everything. You don't have to touch a thing. They've even given you some options here about how to change the color of different items on there. So for instance, this, they're calling it the sideboard, is that little table. If you double click on that hue and saturation adjustment layer, you can change the color by just using the hue scroller. You can change the saturation to super bright, of course, which looks a little weird. You can just completely change it. I think I'm going to make mine gray. There's no point in it being, you can actually change the lightness of it and the darkness too. Watch out when it starts, when you start making things lighter in a adjustment layer, it tends to start looking pretty bad. So be careful with that. So look, we've changed the color of the sideboard. We've put in our pattern on the wall. And again, if we wanted to change the floor, you could change it by just picking which background you wanted. I'm kind of fond of this wooden background. So now there's other things you could do here. What they've done is they've given you this mask layer that is just a color-coded area that is being utilized so that you can actually use this to select something and add or adapt it or change it or do whatever you want with it. I'm not going to do much about that, but what I might do is I could go in here with my, I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to go in very basically. Oh no, I'm not going to do that yet, actually. I'm going to, what I want to do is, I don't like this artwork. It doesn't really go with my person or with my, my wallpaper very much. But I have a picture of my subject, so I am going to just grab it. I don't know whether this is going to fit or not, but we're going to see. So I'm here on the layer. I'm going to copy it. And then when I go back over to my mockup, I could actually, what I sometimes like to do is just click. I'm going to have to mask out those leaves, but for right now, I'm just going to stick inside the frame here, and I'm going to paste in 2. And obviously my image is way too big, but I can, because we're going down, I'm not going to worry about it so much. I'm just going to take my lovely drawing of Buckminster Fuller, my historic person, and I'm going to stick it in there. And actually, I think that looks okay. If you wanted to get fancy, you could actually go into that, you could actually wipe out that image there so that you could put it on a blend mode. I'm not going to waste your time. I think you know how to do that. And I'm not going to worry about the other picture either. If you guys know how to mask, now what we did when we did the paste into, it automatically made a mask, which is wonderful. And then what you can do is you go on the mask part of the layer with a brush, and the brush should be fairly hard, and in this case pretty small. And you want to either paint white or black, and in this case we want to kind of mask some of this out to show our leaves. So I'm painting with black, which is showing the leaf through. And I'm probably going to I don't know exactly where the leaves are. So what I tend to do is I tend to paint things in and then kind of paint them out again so I can really see what's going on. And by that, I mean I've let the leaves be seen. I'm letting them be revealed. Now I'm switching and I'm going to paint with black. I mean with white. By just hitting the X key. And I'm going to go in and just very quickly, I'm not sure how well I did that, somewhere in there. And that one actually worked out already pretty well. And because this is so tiny, I think that is enough. That's how you edit the mask. And that's how you do it with a purchased smart object template. So let me show you one other thing, and that is if you want to buy these kind of templates, I buy them a lot. I use them for my licensing presentations all the time. They're very handy. I can make my own, but it takes forever. Let me just show you where we get them. I'm really not trying to plug this as much as it sounds like, but the website is called creativemarket.com. I thought this one in particular, I just am not going to buy it because it's not my demographic to look so fancy, but for those of you who have a very luxurious historic person, this might be a beautiful one to use. So it's 16 bucks. What happens is this is all the things that are in the folder that you buy. So this is just one scene, but you can go in and you can put a pattern on the chair. You can put a pattern or a piece of artwork on the background. You can put something even on the carpet, and you can change the color of the lamp, and I think you can change the color of the sideboard. It's all set up just the way the one we just did is. So yeah, it's 16 bucks. It might save you some time because this is going to give you your wallpaper and your chair. That's as much of a plug as I'm going to give you. Okay? And I'm going to throw all of the files that I've made videos of, and they're all going to be over on Canvas right now.